What's up, everybody? This is Ian Valentino, and welcome to Caleb Williams' scouting report for the 2024 NFL Draft. Now, I've gone through all of his passes from the 2023 season. I've actually seen every throw that he's made throughout his college career, starting in Oklahoma, going through USC, and the one thing is clear. The dude is super talented, okay? We don't need to have that argument. Whether or not he's going to be Patrick Mahomes, let's just go ahead and err on the side of caution, and let's say that he's probably not going to be Patrick Mahomes, who could be the GOAT. But is Chicago really making a tough choice here at number one overall? We're going to go into the other quarterbacks too. Drake May, Jaden Daniels, those guys, they're super talented too. But Williams is the guy that's going to be the lightning rod. We've already started to see opinions form as to whether he's the guy or if someone else should go ahead of him. Is he good enough to even replace Justin Fields with? I think we know where this boat's going to go. Either Chicago's going to take Williams at 1, or maybe they'll drop down and take someone else at number 2 or number 3 if they are really not sold on Williams. He does have maybe some off-field stuff that he has to answer to, and I think that that's every quarterback ever. Is he mature? Is he emotionally ready to be an NFL quarterback? Those are things that we're not going to speculate, to be honest. I looked at his film, and I've been charting quarterbacks for the last 10 years, and I picked out 20 or so plays from this past season that I think really encapsulate what Williams does well, what Williams doesn't do well. So let's dive into the film, into his scouting report, and see exactly what Williams is going to bring to whatever franchise he lands on this season and show what he needs to improve upon in the electric skill set to see if he's worth the hype. So the way that I've broken this up is I've looked at both the good and the bad throws. So we know that there are a ton of great throws on Caleb Williams' highlight sheet. We'll only touch on like a couple of those, and that's just because he's absolutely ridiculous with some of these plays and his ability to create outside the pocket. We can't not go into this saying that we can just throw all those plays away. Okay, we're going to put them aside. We're going to touch on a couple of them. But what I'm really looking for with Caleb Williams are the things that are really going to determine his success in the league or his failure. And quite frankly, that comes down to mental processing. It's what determines who's great in the NFL, who's not great in the NFL, who gets stuck in average, and who's maybe above average, but always leading us to wanting more. And we don't want to want more from Caleb Williams. We want this guy to be as great as he can be because we've seen him do that at a high level, obviously winning a Heisman and earning this distinction as a potential number 1 pick. So I put all these good throws together first for us. We'll dive into the bad throws next. I'm going to warn you, there's more good throws than bad throws. But at the same time, what the good throws show us, the processing, thinking it through, the traits, those things are really, really important. His skill set is immense. So we do have a couple more good throws than bad. And part of that becomes part of the process is I didn't see a ton of bad throws on his tape. I saw a lot of good throws, even his bad moments. Were they repeated mistakes? Not necessarily. And to me, that's what I look for as something that determines whether a player has the inclination to get better or whether they're actually someone who is going to continue to refine and improve in the next level. There's been a lot of quarterbacks in the past where, Mitchell Trubisky, for example, like really struggled under pressure in a way that it was so notable that we had to notate it that he's probably just not going to do well against pressure in the NFL. And it bore true, right? Like some guys can change, some guys get better. Patrick Mahomes has gotten better. Speaking of Mahomes, Josh Allen's gotten a lot better. Kirk Cousins has gotten a lot better. Dak Prescott too. And so now where's the ceiling from there? That's going to be determined by things that we can't control, that we don't know. We don't have access to his inner workings, his mind every single day, his work ethic, those type of things. We can presume that it's high, and those things, his intangibles, are extremely high. But we can't know for sure, right? So let's dive into the good plays first, and then we'll dive into the bad, and then look at the summary at the end. So let's dive right into the game that matters the most, right? We're going to go straight into USC. This moment really brought out the hot takes during the season. Caleb Williams throws 3 interceptions in this game. A couple balls were tipped, ended up getting picked. But the offense was just slogging in general, right? Like this wasn't a game that was pretty. USC really struggled with a lot of their ability to create separation and be able to hold on to the ball. It kind of exposed Lincoln Riley's offense for being, and Cliff Kingsbury, to be quite frankly, just very stagnant. The route combinations weren't very dynamic. They weren't springing their guys into space. Notre Dame did an excellent job pressuring Caleb Williams. It really foretold what would happen the rest of the year, where teams are just bringing generally 3 or 4 rushers, dropping 7 to 8 into pass coverage and muddying up those lanes. So we start here. The first throw that I really want to start with is I've heard a lot about whether this guy Caleb Williams can actually play in structure, whether he can play in timing, what he's seeing pre-snap. To me, if you can play in timing, it means that you're seeing the field and you're reading the defense pre-snap effectively. You've done your homework. You know what the leverage looks like. You know where to go when you read it correctly. And then it says, okay, if you don't, how do you adjust on the fly? We're going to get to some examples of what happens when he doesn't read the pre-snap look correctly or the defense changes post-snap, because that's extremely important too. Now, pre-snap, we see exactly what Notre Dame wants to do, right? We've got man coverage all over the field. These guys are bracketed on these receivers here, 2 receivers over here. It's man-to-man. You've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 guys in the box. Okay, so they're going to bring pressure. You've got an extra man in line here. He's either going to chip or he's going to stay into block for the entire time. You've got the 2 safeties here. So is it going to be that simple? Right? That's going to be the question. It's the number one question in the NFL all the time. Whatever is shown pre-snap isn't necessarily what happens post-snap. It pretty much goes according to chalk is what we would believe pre-snap here. You've got the defender here, 27. He's going to end up going across. But outside of that, the coverage scheme is pretty simple. It's man-to-man. Notre Dame's banking on their guys, at least locking up until one of these pass rushers can get home here. So Williams very astutely sees this. He's just making the quick read. He said, yep, okay, we do the check, instantly going to both these receivers. I'm seeing the safety staying up here. No one's dropping into coverage in front of him to clog up this lane. You've got the quick hitter. Boom. This ball is already almost out right as soon as the receiver turns. Okay, as soon as 2 turns, that head's turned, that ball's already on the way to him. Quick first down, easy peasy. We love to see stuff like this. This is exactly what he's going to be looking to take as far as freebies. And there weren't a lot of freebies last year for USC, and I think that pretty much determined the narrative for the year, right? The offense did not do a great job of creating freebies against quality opponents, and some of that comes down to not really having a great set of playmakers. They've got some good guys. Brendan Rice has been mocked in the top 100, which is unbelievable to me. Nice height, weight, speed guy, but I had him in the 6th, 7th round in the preseason, and I've maintained that grade. He's not really a quick mover, more of someone that looks the part than really is a dominant player. Taj Washington's pretty nice, but Dorian Singer ended up not being too much of an impact transfer. Zachariah Branch was a rookie, so he's a freshman, so not really a ton of impact there. So really like that. Then we jump over to Colorado, and this is going to kind of go throughout the games too, right? Like I just kind of took plays that I saw throughout the season. Similar thing. We see what we see pre-snap. It looks like Colorado's got man-to-man throughout the board. They've got the deep safety here. They've got a safety up in the box. Again, we see a similar alignment. We've got the potential chip blocker here. You got the back here. USC's going to run a lot of play action, and they don't here. So with the free release, that's going to be important here. So instead of running just man-to-man, they're going to drop into the zone. So that pre-snap look really changes the look of things. And you're going to see, look where Williams is looking. Everyone drops back. Colorado is going to try to get pressure with 3 at least. They do get a little bit of pressure. This guy here ends up getting beat pretty badly on the speed outside move. It's not really. I mean, that's kind of their season in a microcosm. Just not great blocking, and we continue to see that. But right here, the pocket stays good enough, and we see Williams' mindset going. All right. So there's a couple things that develop here. So everyone drops back. His first read, because of its man coverage, as he thought, this slot man's going to be running right into space. There's going to be the safety there. But if this defender right here, this edge rusher or outside linebacker, if he doesn't drop back, easy decision. You're going to hit that slant every time, be a first down, right at the line. He's going to get hit. But you take the hit and you keep moving. Now, we see Williams. He's dropped back. He looks. He gives a quick pump fake. He realizes he can't throw that ball. And instead, he actually notices, now he pats the ball a little bit. We don't love seeing that. He pats the ball, but he does reset, moves up in the pocket. He knows he has time. He doesn't see anybody in front of him. He doesn't know the guy's like right behind him. But he stays tall in the pocket. He resets. This defender ends up closing on the back. And this is a nicely designed play because of this. And USC's offense deserves a lot of criticism, I think, for not building in some of these outlets. When defenses showed zone, they generally didn't do a great job of taking advantage of that with zone beaters. When they showed man, they generally didn't do a great job of running a lot of man beaters. They didn't really adjust on the fly, and I'm not sure if that's just because it was the first year of Kingsbury with Lincoln Riley, or exactly if there was because you look back to what Riley did with Baker Mayfield, Kyler Murray, it was a lot smoother than this, and even USC last year in 2022 was a lot smoother than this. So this is a nice job, though, by Caleb Williams, recognizing the defender's going to attack the line of scrimmage for the running back. This cornerback has dropped off pretty far. Boom. I mean, the timing is there. It's what you want to see. Is it a little ugly because of the pump fake and the pat? It is. It's a little ugly, but he adjusts, and that's exactly what you need to see. So later on in the game, you've got empty. Again, you've got the potential chip here. Ton of guys up at the line of scrimmage. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 defenders. Colorado again drops back. They ended up adding this player here, and they also added this safety here. He ends up dropping back as well. He could have been a potential man, but he didn't man up. So he didn't. It could be the release he's looking for, and there's the release right there to take care of him. So this is pretty clogged up. Top of his drop, this is what I'm looking at. Top of his drop is anyone emerging with leverage. We've got no leverage here. Now you could maybe argue if this slot receiver here is setting a pick, which he almost does, but the defender doesn't commit hard enough because he's not in man coverage, so it doesn't spring him loose. And even if he did, you've got number 3 right here. You don't want to challenge him anyways. He's running right into him because of the zone, so he undercuts the route. Now look at the top of the drop. He resets. He looks at this field side, and that's exactly what he sees. All right, there's no one here. Could he maybe layer this throw over this linebacker between the safety? Maybe. But when you look at things in full speed, no, you're not going to try that. That's an extremely dangerous throw. Defender's right there. Does a good job. Okay, so he switches where he's looking. All right, so now he's looking at the top of the field. 1, 2, 3 defenders. There's no passing lane whatsoever. And now the pocket is so spread. This is where Caleb really gets into his best mode. So here's what he's seeing. He's seeing all this green over here. He's got a defender right in the middle of the field here. Got a receiver there. Yes, Marshawn Lloyd is down here. Could he maybe make that throw all the way across the field to Marshawn Lloyd? No. He might get it there. He's got a strong arm. He's got one of the best arms. As soon as he enters the NFL, it's going to be one of the best arms in the league. He's got this receiver right here over in the middle. But these guys, it's a box, right? And there's momentum from this guy right here, this deep safety. He's got momentum. So he's going to be running with that receiver the way that it looks right now. So then we start getting zany, right? And then it's Caleb Williams' time. So he starts creating. This is a really nice job by 15. Move upfield, find the weak spot in the zone. It's really impressive. You know, one thing I don't want to do is hold it against Caleb that he can't get this guy. All right, he's going to try a cross-body throw, which look at this photo right here. Look at the way his shadow is as he's off the ground. This is awesome. This is almost like a jump man Michael Jordan play where he's in midair and you could see his reflection. I love that so much. This is a ridiculously talented throw that he makes, and it's to an open man, sure, but pretty minor adjustment on the ball ends up leading to a touchdown. I don't want to knock him for not trying this super deep throw. There's just no way. You've got the safety here. Yes, he's focused on Lloyd, but it doesn't take that much for if Williams tried to reset and rethrow. One, he'd get blasted. This defender's coming free. He would probably be throwing it right now if he had to fully reset and throw that deep ball. Instead, buys time, creates the open man. Touchdown. Super impressive. Now we're going to stay with Colorado here. Goal to go. Inside the 10. This is where it really matters. This is where these decisions really start to show. How do you see the field? How do you predict what the defense is going to do? How do you read leverage? Leverage in this area is so critical. We're going to see some crossing routes. So whether it's due to the run action, whether it's due to he's going to be a blitzer, this linebacker here is coming. We can see you've got flat across the back. So we know crossers are coming for USC. So it's a matter of who comes open and where. This is a nice play. So the key read is right here. We've got the tight end over here. He's going to chip. This safety here, if it's man coverage, right, he's going to vacate this area. And we end up seeing he does. He vacates this area. And the corner covers over the top. And it's almost like a pick route because he runs right behind that safety. Everything works perfectly. That run action creates that suck-up action. that you get, and now he's looking to scramble and recover. Could have actually probably gotten a touchdown here. Looks like he might have been able to get a touchdown up here. But we come over the middle. Of course, this is Austin Jones. Austin Jones misses the block. He got just enough, though. He executed it well enough. Caleb sees it. He's starting to see, boom, there's the leverage. Look at that leverage. He's got a step, maybe step and a half. This defender here is actually drifting back a little bit more than what it seems like because this is the problem with screenshots, right? It's like he's actually backing up, and so he's not going to be able to react and recover on the ball. This receiver over here did kind of a poor job of clearing out. He really should have taken a harder jab up. Goes in. He needed to go out further and harder just to create that little extra breathing room, but he doesn't. It doesn't matter for Caleb. Look at Caleb's footwork here. He's dropping back. He sees the pressure. He takes one extra step and drops. He sees it. He's loading up. He's got the leverage. Lets it go. On the money. Boom. Now, a little risky because this corner here is seeing it, but he doesn't see it early enough, and the receiver does a good enough job of engaging right here and then getting over top and making him at least respect the fact that he could be the target on this. So at the NFL level, you got to be careful. Like the receiver's going to do a better job. This is kind of why I talked about Rice. I'm not super impressed with him. I think he could have sold this route a whole lot better. NFL, it's possible this corner cuts underneath because the play's a little long. It takes a little bit too long to get this happen. But this is kind of the subset of what happens when you don't have super explosive guys. Like Taj Washington might be a 5th or 6th round pick. As usual with a Riley offense, there's going to be some trick plays. There's going to be some opportunities where they do a great job of creating the windows effectively for Williams. And you want this at every level, right? Like whether it's the NFL, whether it's Kyle Shanahan or Mike McDaniel, whoever it is, you need someone who can create these little opportunities for easy yards. But is this a ground-breaking play for Caleb Williams? No. But what I do see here is we're going to see this slot receiver. He's going to go ahead and fake the block. He kind of engages with the defender a little bit, just kind of creates contact. Okay, boom. They've run this speed out to the tight end or running back a ton of times throughout the year, and usually they'll actually put this player in the backfield or it'll just be a clean release. Caleb will sprint this way and almost like make a really awkward pitch to him, like almost sometimes like right next to him. So USC did a good job setting this up. And this is against a pretty weak foe, right? Like this is Stanford, so it's not like someone that's super impressive, even though they did struggle in this game a little bit. But what I want to show off is just his ability to quickly rifle off a pass that's accurate. And this passing window ends up not being as significant as it is when he throws the ball. This is a nice job by 23 to recover, and it's actually a nice job by this defender here. Coming over, he spots it. He's too late. He's not athletic to get there. Athletic enough to get there. He's athletic, but not athletic enough to get there. But this is a nice job of keeping his receiver able to move upfield, release the ball in time, boom, ends up being a big play. So, nice job there. We continue to move on. We've got Notre Dame again. Okay, we've got to go back to Notre Dame. And it may surprise some people too how much good actually came from this game. So, 4 down linemen. Again, we see similar coverage as the first clip, although we've got the slot moved up here. So what's going to happen? We've got man coverage. Boom. All right, so is he going to be baited into taking this throw? Because his slot receiver wins off the line. Nice job of hand fighting here. Boom. Comes right off the line. Instant leverage. That's a win. Easy win right there. But he doesn't take it right away. Now, should he have taken it right away? I think that he could have. I think that he could have easily gotten rid of that ball right there. Boom. However, he didn't. And I don't want to crush him for it because the primary read is usually against this man because when it's off coverage and it's off man and it's these short routes, USC actually did a really good job of finding production on these plays. And so I actually don't know if and here's where we just have to admit it. Caleb almost looks like he's looking right here. I almost think he's looking at the far side of the field. He sees the defender here. Boom, not giving up any leverage. Okay, he's starting to close in already. And you have to be careful of that. 13's actually in that passing lane a little bit. passes on it now. At this point, if he's going to go over the middle, it's a little late. You've got the lurking linebacker. He cuts right across. He scrapes across that route. So he's already missed that window. And this corner right here is crashing down. Cam Hart's crashing. So you don't want to test him. Now, how quickly do you move to the opposite side of the field? You know it's man coverage. Now, because you know it's man coverage, you've got longer developing routes over on this side. He's not going to look at this defender here because this is just to eat up some space. This is to create this passing window. And that's exactly where it's at. Boom. He's created that separation. Look at that. 1, 2, 3 yards of separation plus the angle of the sideline. Caleb quickly gets rid of it, hits him. Could it have been out of his hand a little bit quicker? Yeah, a little bit. Now, if you're looking at the NFL level, what are you saying here? It's an intentional play to build the spacing. I think that's okay. Now, would I have loved to have seen him hit this quick slant? Yes. Caleb's generally great at seeing and acting. He doesn't usually think too much about it. He's pretty quick on the trigger, but he wasn't here. Now, that's okay. He quickly progressed, didn't hesitate, hits his guy. Nice job of moving the chains. We go to the first down in the red zone. Interesting kind of play here because the tight end's not a huge part of the offense, but he actually does a really nice job with this outside, inside jab step, creates some separation here. This defender here, this linebacker, he gets a little bit caught up. Could you have thrown this ball over the top? I think Caleb might have been able to, but this isn't a primary option within the offense at any point in the season. I don't know that I'm going to crush him for not taking this. Would I have liked to have seen him attempt it? Yeah, I probably would. And you know what? If this is an above-average tight end, if this is David Njoku, if this is even Cole Kmet, I think he probably tries this throw. It seemed like he was looking at him before progressing to this side. So he drops back. He sees the linebacker here. You got the linebacker here. These guys are all covered. Everybody's covered. That's pretty much the USC way this past season. Now it's time to get magic. Pocket's closing on him. It's collapsing. He's got some room to step up. Now this is almost Mahomesian-like, where he actually steps up just to get outside so he can throw. Now watch this receiver here. Does a great job. He gets jammed outside. He's standing still, but then he said, I'm going to use this guy as a pick. Now, I mean, that might be an offensive hold right here. Maybe not. Maybe it's, it looks like a little bit of a defensive hold almost. I'm glad they don't call that. I don't want to see that. Caleb gets outside the pocket, does a really nice job scurrying through, and then here it is. Watch this. Boom. Quick release on the move. He basically leaps into the throw, which is unbelievable to see. It's kind of funny how once the ball is released, someone ends up coming wide open. But this defender's crashing, sidearm, quick release, bang. That's a Mike Breen bang right there. And then we got to see it from this angle here. Now, on this angle, I think it's interesting because I think you kind of see 27 here might be a little bit more in the passing lane than what we think when Caleb is looking. See, when he moves his head before 87 here starts to pop open. But Caleb bounces out the pocket. And just that arm angle, the shoulder flexibility to be able to make that throw. It's truly unbelievable, and that's the stuff that makes him special. But it's the processing, right? Did he pass on an opportunity there? Yeah, he might have passed an opportunity, but he has ways to make up for it. And that's what makes Josh Allen special. That's what makes Lamar Jackson special. They can create when they're on the move in ways that most other quarterbacks can't. You see kind of guys like Justin Herbert sometimes, they get a little mechanical, and Williams just doesn't really have that in him. There's no mechanical limitation here. He's got the physical ability to just do things that no one else or very few others can do. And the question is that all he can do, or can he do more than that? So we're going to stick with the Notre Dame game here. I really like this example of Notre Dame created chaos with 3 to 4 rushers at times, and they just relied on their corners and their defenders to be physical. Be physical, don't show early separation, force Caleb to think, force him to get off platform. Even though that's something that he's good at, you still want to pressure the guy, right? You want to force him into these mistakes. You've got a nice stunt action here over the top. Boom, comes forth. This defender's in no man's land. Everybody's locked up at the top of his drop. So what do we see with Caleb? We start to see the Caleb going to superhero mode a little bit. Moves the platform. Escapes just enough. Look at his ability here. No one else has leverage. This receiver here it's going to go outside and come in. Almost on like a button hook. It's a nice job by the receiver too. Continue to fight for leverage. Find space. This is good chemistry with your quarterback. Rifles it in, first down. We're going to see it from this angle too. All right. Going from his left to his right. That's just beautiful pocket movement. Look at the back foot. Leg never fully plants. He's just hopping around. Oh, I loved seeing that. I mean, this is textbook. Great job by not giving up on the play. Delivers a strike. Man, I mean, that's the type of stuff that even in a bad game for him, that you can just learn so much from him from. Now we're going to go back to a play. This is against Arizona. This is a play where I want to see what can he do in timing. And this is probably the best example all season long. Arizona, they've got some 6'4" corners. These dudes are super talented. It's actually obnoxious how big they are. And they played extremely well. They were a team that caught everybody off guard this year. Look at Caleb's ability. He knows he's got space, okay? He's got the entire field over here. This is a far side field throw. You want to know what a quarterback has on his velocity? These are the throws. Most quarterbacks in college aren't even trying this throw because they can't. Most play callers throw this play out. There's no reason. They're just going to run the crosser. They're going to run a little dig route, little in route. They're not going to run the out route because this is an extremely far throw, and it's risky. This ball, he knows he's going there because he has the space. He trusts his talent, and he hits him right in stride. I mean, this is almost indefensible. This is a nice job by Rice getting to his break and then cutting hard outside. I'll give Rice credit. I mean, he's a good athlete in terms of these types of movements for a bigger guy. Really like this play as an example of, can we execute a timing-based offense with Caleb? And I think you absolutely can. There's going to be some growing pains, but you absolutely can. Same game, a couple plays later, 4 rushers. Left tackle gets beaten. Shocker. Okay, you see the defenders. You got 2 triangles here. All of these guys are covered. Who can he hit quickly at the top of his drop? Okay, you can hit him. You can probably move the chains here. He's going to get hit almost right away. You got 2 defenders who are ready to converge on him. Nothing really too attractive there. So Caleb's going to buy time, and I'm okay with that. This is just what you're going to do when you have a quarterback like Caleb Williams. You're going to have you have to have receivers who are going to be able to make plays when he's starting to buy time, because it happens a lot, and he can make things somewhat difficult on his blockers too because he is willing to scramble so much. Now, we're going to see in a later play he doesn't account for this underneath corner, and it ends up throwing I think it was an interception against Notre Dame. By this point in the season, he's learned from it. He did a better job. There's one throw to make here at this point. Now, he could reset and maybe try this receiver cross body a little bit, but the safest throw, if you're going to try one, most guys aren't even going to try this throw. He's going to do this. Now, he doesn't get set because, again, he's just an obnoxiously good talent and just flexible in ways that others aren't. Throws the dart on the sideline. Okay, so he reads the pressure, moving. I mean, the way he manipulates this pass rusher, great job, gets his blocker back involved. Okay, what throw can I make? Let me square up as best I can. Oh, just fantastic. So we're going to head into Cal. There's a couple more plays here at the end. We're going to just include some silly plays before we get to the bad plays. But Cal actually challenged USC in ways that didn't really expect. So pre-snap, you've got the motion. It shows man coverage. That's defenders following the back. So you're going to have man coverage across the board here. 4 rushers. Pretty simple. When he drops back, he sees at the top of his drop. This is exactly what he's looking at. Not a whole lot to like there, right? Got the underneath receiver. He's blanketed. But what he also sees, and obviously Williams knows the play. You've got the deep safety up here. Here's the slot defender. Well, the slot defender is flat-footed. There's a corner route to be had. Now, far side of the field. Okay, so he's throwing this thing. All right, this is a heck of a throw. Going over the top, right in the bread basket. It's beautiful. This is a beautiful throw. I mean, this is an unbelievable. Look at that quick release. He doesn't know pressure's coming. Right, perfect. I mean, this is crazy. I think there's actually a penalty on this play, too. Look at this thing. Oh, couldn't draw it up better. So we go right back into this Cal game, and we're going to see another quick hitting play. So, again, I mentioned it before, but you see press coverage, or at least on-ball coverage, is what we'll see here. When it's a quick hitter, USC would move quickly, and they would be able to execute this pretty easily, I would say. Williams showed a lot of comfort in this setting. And here you see, it's a nice job by 10, good route running, gets that outside edge, good hand fighting. Corner puts the hand out, breaks off that leverage, does a really nice job here. Chop, looks back for the ball, ball's already coming his way. Easy first down, nicely done. We go to Washington. This was a tough game for Caleb. Obviously, he showed a lot of emotion after this. Washington really took USC to the woodshed, which isn't really too surprising considering their level of physicality, their depth on both sides of the ball. So top of the drop, he's looking to this side of the field, short side. Everybody's covered. I mean, you've got brackets here. I talked about it earlier. 4 rushers. There's not much that a quarterback's going to be able to do unless there's a busted coverage or someone just not paying attention. You could argue here as he works his way to this side of the field, he's going to move the pocket because he knows he's got Braylon Trice over here for Washington. He's going to be probably a top 60 pick, I would guess, come April. Pretty good player. I've mocked him even in the late first round before the season started. It's not really a great edge class, but I do think he probably goes that mid-day 2 range. Pretty solid player. So because there's so much going on in this back end preventing the big plays, Caleb works. I highlight this guy because he is open, right? He's the only guy that you could conceivably get open, unless if he somehow flips and turns his body, throws the ball across the field to 2 or 25 is going to be driving down on that ball. I don't love that opportunity. So Caleb, he does what he does best here. He's going to get outside the pocket, and we're going to see it again. This off-platform twisting throw leads his receiver to the sideline. I mean, this is just an obnoxious showing of confidence, arm talent. It's all the same things we've been talking about. So we move on to Oregon. Get outside the pocket. This is a structured play. We know exactly where the ball's going. Rice is going to sell. He's blocking here. Big rollout to the right. These guys are available. Look, if there's a busted coverage here, maybe Williams does take that throw. If the safety ends up going to this field side, which he doesn't, he immediately breaks to the action. He sees the slot go vertical. He's going with the slot to provide coverage over the top. Not surprising. You see what USC does a lot of the time. They attack that vertical seam. They take care of that. Oregon does a nice job. And then we see Caleb roll out, plant. Rushers oncoming, but I wouldn't say this is necessarily a pressured throw. Rice does not do a great job of getting immediate separation until this corner flips his hips. There's contact here, and then you see that explosion. Okay, you see that separation, does a nice job. That ball's already out. The ball's out basically now. You can't stop the throwing motion here. So he lets go of that ball. The call is the call, right? Like, you're going to make the throw. It's one-on-one. You take your chances. Really a poor job, I think, here, as well as Rice does to gain that separation, about a yard of separation. Doesn't do a good job tracking it. Slows up here, and it ends up costing the team a touchdown. This ball, if he continues to run through it, that should be a touchdown catch. So a really nice throw. But what we see from Caleb here, and what I'm focusing in on, is just the execution. It's reading it pre-snap. As soon as he sees the run action, look, he's checking. You see it right here. His head goes to that safety. He automatically knows exactly where he's going. He takes the correct shot, does a nice job mechanically. This is a good throw. And then we get into some of the zany throws. Okay, we got to do some of the fun ones here. Why not? That's the whole point of doing Caleb Williams here. This is what makes him special. A ton of good here, but I love this angle of this play. So I start this when this play gets just out of control. So we've got the defender crashing in on Williams. This is just insane. Look at the angle manipulation. Steps up just to step out. Tries to get his blocker the easy block. He's not looking. He's not quick enough. One's in space. Look at this ability to just get away from a dude who's really athletic. Number one's really athletic. He had an impressive season for Oregon. Gets to the sideline and then just dips it over the top. Like this is peak. This is when you talk about Mahomes, you talk about Josh Allen, and I actually think Josh Allen is probably a better comp for Caleb Williams than I do for Caleb Williams than Patrick Mahomes, because he has some of this reckless, like, just willingness to do silly things like that. But he avoids turnovers really well. So just an impressive play there. Last example here before we get to the play that really broke the season for Caleb Williams. Did a great job, and then we'll get to the bad plays. But we've got 3 receivers on the bottom of the screen. You got a tight end up here, and then you got the running back. Oregon, they're not doing anything special here. They're just showing what they're wanting to do. Now, the nice job on this play design is getting the vertical slot. And you see how fast that he explodes out because he's got a lot of room to cover. So this is the top of the drop right here. This is what he's seeing. Just a couple seconds later, this is a long developing play. Okay, you see where the sticks are. This is a second and long. Penalty happened before this. So there's the leverage right there. I think he doesn't throw it right away because he sees this defender here. This could be where he drops, right? This could be a situation where this corner drops and could meet him. So I think it's possible if he would have thrown this, it probably would have been okay. And if I'm the coach, I'm saying, hey, I think this is an opportunity. Let that thing go as soon as he gets the leverage. And to be honest, the receiver has leverage right here because this safety is closed off. He's looking here. Now, he eventually flips his hips, but you've got a straight, is probably a 4-4, 4-5 type 40-yard type runner against a safety who's flipping his hips and trying to carry upfield. Now, he does a nice job recovering, but look at all the space. This is a good job, actually, by this player here to come underneath. It doesn't end up mattering, right? There's a ton of green space. And look at Caleb. So Caleb, he moves the pocket a little bit. He doesn't necessarily have to move this much, but understand by this point in the season, there's been a lot of trauma. There's been a lot that's been happening for Caleb Williams, and he's been having to deal with insane pressures throughout the whole year. Now, at this point, could he throw from this far hash all the way over to the 40? I mean, his guy's open. I think he could make the throw. I don't think it's necessarily smart. If he would have stayed strong in the pocket right here instead of rolling out to the right, maybe that's an opportunity. But, I mean, his defender's looking back. His defender sees this. He starts jogging. I don't want to hold that too much. That's where you can't look too much at the stills. Okay, so he's launching right now. Now, he could be going right here. He could take the little dump off. Maybe gets, a couple yards. Maybe gets, I think that's like 3-4 yards. Not Caleb Williams, baby. That's not his game. He's launching this thing. He's got the receiver. I mean, look, there's space here. He's got the inside edge. Just the audacity to throw this. But look at the placement. The placement of this throw. Only where his guy can get it. Unbelievable accuracy. Unbelievable ability to get velocity on a ball where we see this. He's in motion. Like he's almost hop-stepping into the throw. Just effortless. And then, of course, we gotta finish up the good throws with the silliest play of the year. So let's just sit back and enjoy this one. Steps up in the pocket, far hash, just wings it. This UCLA game was crazy. UCLA was all over Williams. Part of that was this deep pass rush. Some of it was just bringing 3 defenders, dropping back 8, and unbelievable ability to just create that type of placement, that type of confidence. At this point in the game, it's kind of like screw it. Season's kind of like screw it. Season's kind of over, and UCLA is whooping our butt. But I love this. You find 4 guys in the NFL who can do this. So really, really impressive. Let's dive into the bad plays. All right, so we're going to immediately jump into the bad plays from there. Obviously, we have to start with Notre Dame. This was not an amazing game. There were some good moments in Notre Dame that I thought showed some growth from Caleb. It answered a couple of questions, even amongst adversity. He's going to see that a lot during his rookie and probably second season. If he goes to Chicago, we know that offense isn't really built to win and play effectively right now. So it's going to take some time for them to get the playmakers. They're breaking in a new offense. We'll see how they develop over time. But we start here. We've got the play action. Notre Dame, they're dropping back. They've got 7 guys in coverage. We see where the linebackers are. The reason why I want to highlight that is because we have delayed blitz. 2 of these linebackers are going to come in. This ends up just being man-to-man. This guy here takes the up. Well, he ends up being the tailback here from the formation. It's pretty well blocked until those linebackers are coming. That heat's coming right up the middle. It's going to be unblocked. You see the line shift. Really nice job by Notre Dame to create this pressure, and they're banking on their guys. They're banking on their guys getting home, banking on their coverage, creating some leverage. So we get to the top of the drop here. Guys coming up the middle. You've got the receiver here, Taj Washington. He's running right into the ref. You've also got the safety crashing down on him. You see the safety coming down. He's got a little bit of an edge on 13. To be honest, if Washington flattens this route a little bit, it can be a completion. It could be a first down. But ends up not being what happens. He actually runs right into the ref. Good job, ref. But Caleb's looking at this receiver down here. Okay, look where the receiver is. The receiver goes to the outside, and then he tries to run this deep in. And it's just an ineffective way of running this route where, he avoids the contact, but he plays right into what the corner wants. There's no chance Caleb's ever going to throw this ball. Unless if it's an option route to the far sideline where it's a back shoulder grab, there's no chance. So the receiver takes him out of this, even though it is an advantageous situation because the safety is facing the other direction. The wide receiver does a poor job of taking advantage. And I think that Caleb could have done a better job here too, because he sees that it's man coverage, right? You should see this and say, okay, this is man because he's got that inside edge. Unless if the receiver goes deep or cuts to the outside, it's just not possible for him to take that. So he pivots. So we've got Caleb pivoting. You've got Marshawn Lloyd over here coming wide open. Now, when he notices that it's the blitz, which he should already see. So at this point, the mesh point has passed. His eyes go over here. So maybe he misses these guys, these 2 linebackers blitzing up the middle. If he sees that, the automatic check should be Marshawn. And I think he probably assumed that this defender was going to break off into the flat, or that this corner would play cover 2, and this safety would just take care of the deep threat on the top of the field. So I'm assuming that Caleb probably didn't foresee this, right? We've got double coverage over the middle. He's just simply taking up space. He's not even a target on this play. And Caleb does a poor job of recognizing and working his way. You want to throw into the blitz, but because it was such a delayed blitz, I don't think he had time to process what was going on. But this is where you want your quarterback to say, okay, at my mesh point, here's what I see. Here's what it progresses to. I get my first read. I'm at the top of my drop. Not an option. Let me look at the check down. I see the blitz. I need to quickly pivot to the check down. And generally, I think he does do a good job against pressure. But there are examples here where he doesn't. And every quarterback does worse against pressure, right? Like that shouldn't be a shocker. So let's jump to UCLA. I mentioned this was a bit of a rough game. It was a rough game for the entire team in offense. Here's what USC is going to be running. Their slot's going to be going deep, running into this zone. We've got zone over here. And it's very clearly zone, right? Like this is what you're going to see pre-snap. This is what you're assuming. The target here ends up being the slot. And the key read is going to be this hang defender right here. Both of these guys are going to be sucked in by the play action. And then look at all this green space. This is exactly what they drew up. Why are you not throwing the ball? Get rid of the ball, buddy. And instead of, he doesn't even pat the ball. He just resets his feet, and then he moves to the other side of the field. Here's the problem. As soon as you see that these guys are dropping into zone, unless if there's like a pattern match over here, it's possible that the weak side of the field plays a different type of coverage. He should know this slot is taken out. He's running a little quick comeback route. This receiver's never going to be into the play. So as soon as he sees this defender, this overhang defender, drop into the flat, that's the read. That's it right there. And his eyes, if he's not sure, of course you have to watch the underneath linebacker. They do exactly what they're supposed to do on this play. They get sucked in. So this is one of those misses where it's, people are going to talk about the issues with Caleb and playing within a timing offense and, the anticipation and those type of things. And generally, I think he's pretty strong at those, but there are these misses where I don't understand. I mean, he's open even till now. And maybe it's because he kept getting spooked by the pass rush, but instead he breaks the play. Look at how much leverage these defenders have. Eyes on Caleb, so he's not going to be able to run for much, and then he ends up throwing the ball away. So it's a wasted down. It's a lost first down, and we see his eyes. Look at his eyes, wide open. Now maybe he's afraid of this ref. Maybe he's afraid of this linebacker gaining, but this ball could already be out. We saw that from the other angle. And he could still get that ball. Now, I don't want him to try those wild throws too much where he's throwing his body, across the field, doing those type of things. So I'm not going to advocate for too much craziness here. But let's jump to the next one against Washington, showing man coverage. This is pre-snap. This is what you're going to presume. This guy, the middle linebacker, he might be blitzing. He doesn't. He ends up dropping into space. And Washington does a nice job post-snap. Top of the field, they're playing zones. I mentioned that with UCLA. It's possible that they were playing two different types of coverages. That's exactly what happened here. So, top of the drop. Pretty clean pocket so far. And here's what he's seeing. Here's the quick hitter. Make the quick hitting throw. Look at that leverage. You've got 6 yards of leverage here. Unless if he's going and he wants to run this deep route, if he wants to run this deep route, you can just let it fly. Sometimes you're going to have those 50-50 balls, and sometimes they don't work out. There's a few instances of that throughout the season, and that just happens. You're going to throw interceptions on these balls. Weak side of the field, there's nothing here. I wouldn't want to throw it here. You've got the perfect option. So he gets a little antsy in the pocket. He doesn't know what's behind him. He starts to see a little bit of leverage, but now he runs into the pressure. You're running into the pressure. And then you end up getting strip sacked. And look what you had if he just would have stood tall in the pocket. And I'm thinking that he thought up here was going to be man coverage. He never gets his head around to this side of the field, and it's not man coverage. And so it's one of those, hey, look, if you don't like that first read, whip your head around. You're going to find your guy wide open. That would have been a huge play. This is a potential touchdown. And he misses it. You got the there's a deep defender back here. You can't see him. But this is a potential touchdown if he makes one guy miss. He's already got that leverage. So I'm not going to fault him that the first read was here, but he did pass on the first read. It ends up being a devastating play. Strip sack. All right, let's move to the next one. This is where the underneath defender, he doesn't read correctly. So looks like cover 3 pre-snap, 3 rushers. Okay, the fact that Arizona kept getting pressure with 3 rushers is unbelievable. But that's just how it goes. So running back comes out. Doesn't do an amazing chip. He tries. Marshawn Lloyd's not a good pass blocker, is what it is. Most of his worst plays, honestly, were with Lloyd struggling in pass pro. So it gets to the top of the drop. Here's what he sees. Man-to-man coverage. Receiver coming into the safety. You've got underneath defenders. This is a possible throw, but it's not his first read, and I understand why he's not making it. Here's where he's looking. He's looking for this slot. He's going to go in to out. Going to do that deep corner route. Now, the problem here is we thought it was cover 3 pre-snap. What are you going to do if it's cover 3? What are you not going to do? What you're not going to do is take that corner route. That's not the read here, and we see it. So Caleb's getting ready to throw. He's loading up. This corner already sees it. Great job. This is a potential first round. This is a potential top 10 guy next year, and depending on how next year goes. But he's got the skill set to do it. So you've got the open underneath. Now we've got a long situation. Look at the first down sticks. He's looking at the 35. And USC's trying like heck to fight and to play. Look at the corner. The corner comes off of his man, jumps, drops a pick. Bryce ends up being open. Bryce wasn't probably the read because if he doesn't care, if he carries, he's reading Williams. If Williams isn't loading up, if he doesn't see what Williams is doing, that's going to be double coverage. And this would have been the right read. Like, in fairness, like, this is an excellent play by a corner, but this is an opportunity for Caleb to know, hey, man, I needed to do a better job pre-snap of seeing what I thought I was seeing. It's a good job by USC to get the linebacker on the slot receiver, but a good defense is going to provide help for that. Okay, so let's jump back to Notre Dame. Here's where the play's at. There's a little bit of lucky and unlucky situation. Not the best route highlighting. These end up being deep crossers. But you got the tight end here. He's going to go to the flat. You got this receiver running the post. This defender is going to drop into space. He's going to drop over top. The key read's going to be this safety here. And then we've got the corner blitz. The corner blitz really changes everything. Caleb doesn't see it. And there's no real inclination until right before the snap. This is a great job of hiding the blitz. All right, so you've got two defenders blitzing here, coming in. Again, this is Austin Jones. Austin Jones misses the block. All right, so we got top of the drop. Here's what he sees. This is a little bit after top of the drop just so we can highlight exactly what's going on. He's looking at one. One's going to be running right into the defender. It's still kind of an open throw. It's better. It's the only option, really, at this point. These two guys are going to be running the rub routes, trying to get one of these guys caught up against the ref or against each other. And then Caleb, so as he steps up, what he's thinking right here is that this corner is going to stay. He's going to stay home, and it's going to cause this receiver to spring open. Or I'm sorry, he won't be able to spring open on this side. 15 is going to spring open because he's going to come across the face of the linebacker. Right? So he's going to spring across. But guess what happens? 0 doesn't do that. So this ends up working out because of the pressure. Okay, so the pressure ends up forcing Caleb. He never gets to this read. 0 just simply follows the eyes. The linebacker's right there. He actually runs a little bit of, and the receiver runs into him and tries to go above him, which is an awful decision. Because this corner here doesn't fully come up. If this corner here comes up, 15 should drop back a little bit, create some depth. Caleb can throw over that. He's got the ability to manipulate passes like that. That doesn't happen. He should flatten this route out, and instead, Caleb throws it directly to 0, who reads it. This is a play with a lot of issues. It's not just Caleb. The running back failed to block. It's a poor job by Caleb to make his progressions, and he doesn't see the blitzer, and it's a terrible job by the receiver to drift upfield like that. So we go back to Notre Dame. Top of the drop, play action. We see man coverage. All right. He's already pressured off the edge. Linebacker over the middle. You've got some green space right here. You've also got the ref. I mean, the refs in college just are sometimes just in the middle of everything. Now, could he have, without panicking, reset and tossed this over the middle? At this point, he's not played his best game, but then this interception happens. And I mentioned this earlier in his good throws. It might be why he passed on it. He got a ball tipped earlier and went for an interception, and it looked like an overthrow, but it was a tip ball. So he goes to his weak side. We're going to go ahead and highlight. So here's what he's seeing. He sees this receiver. Now, he doesn't incorrectly see Taj, and he sees the Taj, right? He sees the leverage, but he never sees this defender. He never sees the boundary corner up top. He's just chilling, and he tries to force a play. So when you look at Caleb, the guy is incredibly talented. What does this mean for his future? He's incredibly talented. We saw so many great plays. I'm telling you, I cut a ton of great plays. I could have gone for like 3 hours just on great plays for him. And you look at the bad throws. He struggles a bit under pressure, and he can see his decision-making forced. And when he misreads the coverages pre-snap and then pressure then comes, he struggles to overcome that. But he's got the physical ability, I think, to overcome that and to continue to develop in the NFL. And we kind of forget sometimes that these guys can develop in the NFL. We've seen it. We've seen them get better. So what's the situation like, and what does he need in the NFL? Look, he didn't have a great running game. Marshawn Lloyd was really good, and I like him. He's a good mid-round prospect. I think he could be a starter somewhere. But that offensive line for USC was a mess. Didn't have a ton of defensive help. It's not like he got a bunch of short fields throughout the season, and oftentimes he was caught up in these pass-happy games against top 20 defenses. Played 4 top 20 defenses. Really tough schedule for USC, and they're just not a super talented team. It's not like that they had these A-plus receivers. None of these guys should go above day 3, and even then, they're to me, like Taj and Rice are guys who fight for rosters. Dorian Singer had a late day 3 grade for me entering the year, and he's transferring. So, you look at the talent on this team, and I think that we got the worst out of Caleb Williams a lot last year, and you worry a little bit about, is he mature enough to deal with failure? It's okay that he's emotional. It's okay that he cried after losing a game. Like, God forbid the guy cares about winning. Like, that's not something that I'm going to hold against him. I hope it's not something that we hold against him as evaluators. But we know how this business goes, and it's not always a kind business. And so I do think he's going to go number one, not saying that he needs like a ton of he doesn't need coddling. But at the same time, I think he does deserve some grace for his continued learning curve, and maybe these difficulties will really change how he addresses the game. I think he is a tremendous competitor. I think his improvement from year 1 to year 3 was obvious. He overcame a lot, and I think a lot of quarterbacks would have looked terrible in that situation at USC. So I'm really excited to see. Would I take him number 1 overall based on what we went over today? Absolutely. He's a tremendous prospect. Again, I've charted all these guys. I look at his advanced numbers, and I'll have a video later once I'm done with some of the other scouting reports, comparing those, what they all mean. But thank you so much for tuning in. Let me know what you think about Caleb Williams in the comments. Would you take him number 1? Would you trade up for him? Is he just a red flag galore? I want to know. I want to know your answers. We're going to come back to this in the future. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great day.